This is why I don't online date. When this happened, I was probably 9 at the time, and I met a guy on Roblox. He was pretty nice, and I liked playing with him, so I friended him, and we played together every once in a while. About 2 months after we became friends, I was playing a game on Roblox, and he joined me. We said hi to each other and started playing together like we normally did. He then asked if I wanted to be his girlfriend, and I said I don't online date and I wasn't comfortable with doing it. He then said, do it or else. I asked him or else what. He said he would do something. I asked him again what he would do. He said he was gonna come to my house. I didn't think that he would. I thought he was just trying to scare me. I asked him how he would do that, and he said he knew my address, and I was starting to get pretty scared at this point. I immediately left the game and I unfriended him. A few days later, I was playing Roblox and I somehow saw him in my game. He walked up to me and Part 2. He walked up to me and I told him to go away, but he said in all caps, be my girlfriend. I said in all caps, no, and leave me alone. I thought he would leave me alone, so I walked away, and he just followed me and said, be my girlfriend or else I will come to your house. I left the game and blocked him, and I started to think he was not a child. About a month later, I had forgot about it, and nothing had happened, just the usual going to school. A few days later, a guy texted me saying, I'm coming to your house. You have to be my girlfriend. I was terrified, so I immediately blocked the number. The next day, we got a knock on the door, and I forgot about the message, and my mom answered the door. It was probably a 50-year-old man, and my mom asked what he needed. He said that he wanted to see me, and my mom asked if I knew him, and I said no. He then yelled at me saying, you must be my girlfriend. I yelled no, and he went to grab me. I screamed as loud as I could and ran back into the house. My mom yelled at him Part 3. And my mom called the police on him. He didn't do anything and stood there being weird, saying over and over, you must be my girlfriend, I am lonely. The police arrived and asked the man what the problem is. My mom yelled that the man tried to grab me because I didn't want to be his girlfriend. The police took him and we haven't heard about him ever since.
Storytime. Our house had to be cleansed of a demonic presence. I had just gotten out of a relationship that I had been in for 5 years. I had to pack up my stuff from his house, move out, and I was mentally all over the place. One of my friends that I'll either tag below or in the comments had just bought a house during this time, so it was kind of perfect for me to move in with her. The house was beautiful, had very cottage vibes, but there was something about the shed in the back, and I'll insert a picture. It was filled with religious symbols and Mod Podge all over the wall. There was lights in there like people were trying to grow, and it just seemed like a lot of teenage experimentation happened back there. But overall, the house was nice and was totally checked out by the inspector. Soon after I started to move in, that's whenever spots would occur on the ceiling. It was happening a lot on my side of the house as if there was water damage. However, we didn't know where the water damage was coming from and she had the house inspected. This is when she started to have extremely vivid nightmares that bled over into the day. She would wake up and see shadowy figures hanging over her. I kind of just thought she was tired due to night shift at first, but that's when I got my first sleep paralysis episode. It gets way worse, so stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Storytime Part 2 of our house being cleansed of a demonic presence. So my roommate's nightmares and hallucinations were getting worse and worse. When she would drive home from work, she one time literally thought someone was hurting themselves in the car next to her, and then would walk into the house and see something standing over her. But again, we just thought she was tired due to night shift. However, a few days later, I ended up waking up and not being able to move my body. All I could do was look around the room and I felt someone petting me. All I could do was lay there while this thing talked to me and pet my head, but I could never see her. And I know it was a her because it was a female's voice. This had me freaked out and not wanting to sleep for days. But soon I was able to get over it and forget it. One night whenever I came back with one of my guy friends, we walked into the house and from the back we heard, hey, are there any people here? We both just looked at each other like, oh my god, did you actually just hear that? Except I heard it in a female voice and he heard it in a male voice. He told me to stay right there and he scanned the area to make sure that there weren't any people there. And there weren't. We knew this was getting bad and we were going to have to call someone. So my roommate called up someone.
Here's a story time that happened in 2nd grade. So my teacher never allowed fidget spinners. And my friend always brought one to school. Because that was the only thing that helped us focus. But every time she saw it, she would take it. And she would never return it even though she said she was. So me and my friend, I'm going to call her Jalen. And my other friend, I'm going to name her Caitlin. So me, Jalen, and Caitlin all had this plan to sneak into school and take our fidget spinners. So at recess, we had this plan spot behind the tree, and we would all talk about it. This girl even didn't eat her lunch because her teacher took away her fidget spinner. Anyway, we all had this plan to sneak into school and break the windows, go in class and steal all our fidget spinners and give them back to the owners. But every time we talk about it, we'd get caught by this one kid named Nathan. and he would all go tell the teacher. But the teacher didn't care, obviously, because she knew we weren't going to do it. Like for part 2.
This is why you should never friend people you don't know on Roblox. I met this guy on Roblox, and his name was Jimmy X Bear. He asked if we could be friends on Roblox, and I said sure. I wasn't sus of him until a week later when he'd asked me to join his game. And I said sure. So I joined his game. He started then telling me that I was going to get hacked and that I should stay off Roblox. I was completely confused. I didn't know what to say, so I just left the game. After a week or so, I went back on because of how scared I was, and I was logged out of my account. And now I didn't know what to do. So I went to go log into my account. After 20 or so tries, I finally got back in. I looked to go in my Roblox chats and saw Jimmy X Bear. You won't believe what he said next. Come back for part 2.
I'm gonna tell y'all about the time I was toxic. Story time. So let me throw it back to the time me and my boyfriend started dating. I was crazy in love. Emphasis on the crazy part. Well, anyways, one day we made plans to hang out, and I was supposed to drive to his house after work. So I get off work and I realize that he hasn't messaged me in 5 hours, which isn't something he normally does. So I started freaking out. And not gonna lie, at the time, I had my speculations about a couple girls. So I messaged him, hey, I just got off work. And I waited about 30 minutes and still nothing. So that's when I said, I'ma head out. And I drove to his house. Keep in mind, at the time, he lived an hour away from me. So I drove to his house, and tell me why on the way there, my car breaks down. Like my car was literally smoking. But the good news is I was only like 2 minutes away from his house. So I park at this nearby Starbucks and I start running to his house. The very first thing I did when I got to his house was look through his window. Yes, I told you guys I was crazy. Part 2 is gonna be embarrassing. The time I was toxic. Part 2, story time. Okay, I guess the better word would have been crazy, because toxic really isn't the word, but still, I was crazy. Anyways, I drove to his house and my car broke down. And then I was literally running to his house crying. Like, I looked like a hot mess. I looked like a bum. Because the whole time, I thought that he was at his house with a girl. I thought he was cheating on me. Like, that's why I thought he wasn't texting me, is because he was talking to another girl. That's why I was crazy. So I get to his house and I peek through his window because I was like, ooh, I want to see what he's doing. So I peek through his window and I see nothing. It was too dark. So I come around to the front door and I bust through it. I flung that door open so hard that I put a dent in the wall. Like, I was ready to beat his ass. So coincidentally, right when I busted the door open, his roommate was right there. And he was like, hey, Kenzie. I was just standing there looking crazy with tears in my eye. And I was like, so where's Luke? Where is he? I was literally confronting his roommate just to find out that he was sleeping. I can't tell you guys how crazy I felt. Moral of the story, don't be toxic.
So I used to know this girl who would constantly say things like, guys, sorry, I'm so ugly. I just ruined the whole group photo, I'm sorry. And then everyone would automatically comfort her and be like, no, you're beautiful, you shine. And then she would be like, no, but thank you. And she would do the same thing over and over again, trying to get everyone's attention. So eventually I got tired. So the next time she came to me saying, I'm so ugly, I was like, you know what? You are.
This girl took a picture of me when I was using the bathroom. Story time. So right after we got evacuated, I took my cute self to the stove because your girl needed the essentials, water, deodorant, you know, all that good stuff. While I was looking for all the things I need, I realized your girl has to go boom boom. Just kidding, I just had to pee too. Well, anyways, I was in the bathroom doing my thing, and then randomly someone comes in there and they start busting open all the stall doors. Keep in mind, I was in there by myself, and I was just sitting there doing my business like, okay, what's going on? So this person gets to my stall and they try to bust the door open. But your girl made sure she locked that stall door. Then this person starts shaking the door from the top. Like, I'm just sitting here on the toilet and I see someone's hands reach over and try to shake the stall door. I was pretty freaked out, not gonna lie. So I wrapped it up, and as I was buttoning my pants, I see someone's phone come from underneath the stall door. Then I hear the camera noise. This bitch really took a picture of me. Part 2 is about to take a weird.
Okay, so my whole life I've had a lot of online friends because I have literally no real life friends anyways. About 2 years ago I made a new fan page and I met this girl. I'll call her Cowley because me and her are still pretty close anyways. Me and her became really close really quick. At the time, she was best friends with some creepy-ass bitch called Gabby. Yes, that's her real name. I don't care. She's weird as fuck. She was obsessed with Callie and hated me for being close with her. Callie was also friends with a lot of Gabby's friends. They were like a friend group. But Gabby would start fights with Callie and another girl called Emma and Ruth. Anyways, we made a new group chat without Gabby and she hated it, and she would practically stalk Callie even though she lived in Poland and Callie lived in New Zealand. One time at like Christmas time, Gabby had gone ice skating and there was a ginger girl there. Callie was ginger and Gabby was spamming her being like, I saw today it was.
When I was in 9th grade we had a substitute teacher. Let me tell you, he was so fine. All the girls were over him. Mind you, he was at least 25 or older. Since it was a sub, everyone thought they could do whatever. So everyone took out their phones and started messing around. But he wasn't having it, so he took everyone's phones and put them in a bucket. He also made us beg for them back until we were so tired we couldn't even talk. Once class was over he told me to stay. I just stood there not knowing what to do, but then he said, since you were the only one not using your phone, I want to give you a special surprise, but you can't tell anyone, got it? And then that's when I knew what he was doing. So
Part 2 of what Jimmy X Bear said next. I went to go look in my Roblox chat and I got a chat from Jimmy X Bear. He said, your account is now mine. I was speechless. Right away, I unfriended him and contacted my parents and my friends. None of my friends would believe me, so I said to go on ALT accounts and join his group. I pretended we were a Roblox group of friends and we wanted to be his friend. So for days of playing with him and acting like we liked him, my friend's main account got hacked. Now at this point, I didn't know what to say. I thought it was kind of my fault, so I knew I had to do something. What I did next was friended him again, and I chatted him back and asked, what are you trying to do to me? Stay tuned for part 3 for what he did next.